I haven't long to go now, and I dread whatever is going to happen to my country. I had a childhood with nothing in except the freedom to roam the fields of Quinton and the canals. And I would like to record that we walked everywhere for the simple reason we had no state benefit to pay bus fares. We went down to the Lesos, which is on Mucklows Hill, Halesoe. And we come out onto Mucklows Hill. Oh dear, 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 dear. Coming up Mucklows Hill were lorries, American lorries. How did we know it was American? They always had a white star on all their equipment. They were coming up Mucklows Hill, tanks on lorries, all the equipment for warfare, and the infantry with their rifles on their shoulders were marching up Mucklows Hill. So what did we know? We knew there was some action to come for the future. We went and sat on the bench, which the modern child has now destroyed, smashed it all up. Even Hitler didn't smash it up, but the local hooligans did. And my mother cried. She said, "They are some mother's sons, and they will never see them again. They won't return." Because my mother's boyfriend, Billy Baker, was killed on the Western Front, and Jackie, my niece, has been to Germany to see his name on the War Memorial there and the War Memorial in Smethwick, because my name would have been Baker instead of Jones. War brings untold sadness. And when this American fleet of armory got to Quinton, we were rationed, and the Quinton people gave them a cup of tea, which they were most grateful for. And I often think, when I have driven up and down Mucklows Hill, when I had a little car of my own, how many did return. Then, when I'd started work, January the 19th, 1939, I met Marjorie Wiley, and she married a Yank. Why did they marry a Yank? They thought they were all film stars. And so they go off to America and they live in the slums of America. And she invited me out to America, and she'd had a most brutal marriage, and she'd had 5 children, and her son said to me, all we ever do is say, Mum, divorce him, and she wouldn't. And most of those marriages were brutal marriages. And there were a lot of handicapped children from the relationship. And it was always said, it was all the chemicals that the Yanks had taken before they went over to France that caused them, their wives or girlfriends, to have these disabled children. So all you see are these disabled children, and the Yanks have left them in little huts to fend for themselves. They, once the handicapped child was born, they didn't want to know them. Marjorie had, her first was a handicapped girl that she had to push around in a wheelchair. But her husband did recognise her, and he did do his share of pushing her around, even though he was so brutal. And I think that's why she stayed with him. Life is hard, and I think these children of today have got a rude awakening. But don't come and cry on my shoulder. That includes my own great nieces and nephews. You've got to learn to stand on your own 2 feet.